2-year-old boy at Disney World. The child's body found 15 feet from shore. The resort beach now closed as we learn new details about that terrible moment when the alligator attacked.
Breaking overnight, the dramatic marathon effort in the Senate, nearly 15 hours long, the emotional fight to stop terrorists from getting guns as the president and vice president head to Orlando to meet with the shooting victims and their families.
Exclusive new video reveals the horrifying moments in that nightclub bathroom as the gunman attacked. People hiding, trying to keep the wounded alive, and new questions this morning. Were warnings from a gun shop owner ignored about the shooter weeks before the massacre?
Deadly heat warning, a wildfire blasting through the west, a state of emergency as temperatures reach up to 120 degrees, and heat alerts from the Midwest to California this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America, it is another busy news morning. We have more fallout from that massacre in Orlando.
That's right. Overnight, that dramatic scene on the floor of the Senate, Democrats going past 2 a.m., battling for action on gun control in the wake of the Orlando shooting.
That was Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Could have votes on legislation as early as today. We're going to get more on that later, but we begin with that deadly alligator attack at Disney World. This morning, we're learning new details about the family of that 2-year-old boy right there, Lane Graves, and what happened in the moments leading up to the attack. ABC's Gio Benitez is in Orlando with the latest. Good morning, Gio.
George, good morning to you. The family learning just over 12 hours ago that the boy's body was found intact just yards from the shore.
After a desperate 16-hour search by air and boat, the heartbreaking news. 2-year-old Lane Graves found dead, 6 feet underwater at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort.
But our divers were able to locate the body. We used sonar equipment.
The alligator's attack taking less than a minute as the boy played at the water's edge. It was 9 p.m. Tuesday. Lane's parents and 4-year-old sister were relaxing on the beach. Lane was in ankle-deep water right on the shore when the gator suddenly grabbed hold, his dad rushing to save the boy, wrestling with the gator. But it was no use. The incredibly strong gator pulling the boy into the water. A witness says the scene, which sounded like a fight, unfolded in the dark. The mother frantic, running back and forth across the beach. 5 gators captured at the lagoon Wednesday.
We're going to look at the 5 alligators we've already taken and we're going to compare things like bite marks. There's a good chance we already have the alligator.
The Seven Seas Lake has a no swimming sign, but there's no sign warning about alligators. Disney now saying it will review the situation thoroughly.
Disney has a wildlife management system that is in place.
The company saying they look into gator sightings and in some cases remove or even euthanize the animals. A gator did bite an 8-year-old in 1986, but there's never been a death until now. But guests have seen gators there before. This video shot just 2 weeks ago of a gator in that same lagoon. The family did not notify Disney. This morning, the president of the resort telling ABC News, there are no words to convey the profound sorrow we feel for the family and their unimaginable loss. We are devastated and heartbroken by this tragic accident and are doing what we can to help the family during this difficult time. On behalf of everyone at Disney, we offer our deepest sympathies. And the Graves family.
They do appreciate all of the prayers that have gone forward to allow those of us time with a proper burial.
And Bob Iger, the chairman and CEO of Disney, our parent company, spoke with the family and also said this in a statement. As a parent and a grandparent, my heart goes out to the Graves family during this time of devastating loss. My thoughts and prayers are with them, and I know everyone at Disney joins me in offering our deepest sympathies. George.
Yeah, we do all join in on that, Gio. And also some more questions this morning. We know the beaches there are closed. What's the scope of that closure? And going forward, do you expect to have more explicit warnings about alligators at the Disney resorts?
That's right, George, and that's a big question because as we know right now, there are no alligator warning signs. So right now, Disney tells us that they're going to review that. They're going to look into that for the future. But I can tell you all of the beaches here are still closed, George.
Okay, Gio Benitez, thanks very much.
I think that warning will be heard loud and clear. So many of us have walked on that beach never thinking that our children could be at risk.
All right, thanks to Gio for that. We turn now to the other big story in Orlando. The president heading there this morning as the FBI now investigates that deadly shooting. They have released this poster asking the public for information about the gunman as new terrifying video shows those moments in the nightclub in a bathroom stall. ABC's Lindsay Janis is in Orlando with more on that. Good morning to you, Lindsay.
Good morning, Amy. We've heard so many horrifying stories from inside that nightclub, and now for the first time, one survivor sharing with us a video he took from inside the bathroom where he was hiding.
Chris. Oh my gosh, Chris.
This morning, new video from inside the Orlando nightclub massacre.
So I ended up in the bathroom. The shooter just started saying, "Everybody come out, everybody's gonna die."
There's no one doing it.
Instead, Miguel Leiva says he and dozens of others hid in the stalls, huddling together for 4 hours. The footage obtained by ABC station WPLG shows them passing around a cup of water and trying to keep the wounded alive.
Chris. Oh my gosh, Chris.
Also this morning, for the first time, the voice of the killer.
Good morning. Do you have a badge?
A disgruntled Omar Mateen seen in this documentary called The Big Fix, working as a security guard at the site of the 2010 BP oil spill.
Right, no one gives a here. Like, everybody just get out to get paid.
All about the money, right?
All about the money.
Years later, his behavior would cost him his job at a Florida courthouse.
There was a comment made about his allegiance to the Fort Hood shooter, and those comments brought immediate alarm to my staff and their supervisors at the courthouse.
The incident triggering one of 2 FBI investigations, both concluding he was not a threat. And just last year, a local police academy rejected Mateen's application. Inside, Mateen admits he was dismissed from another job at the Florida Department of Corrections, that he had used steroids and had a criminal record that was sealed or expunged. Authorities say Mateen filed a complaint claiming he was turned away because he was a Muslim. And right now, the FBI is aggressively investigating Mateen's wife, Noor Salman, who lived here with him. They are looking into her life with as much scrutiny as her husband's. Amy?
All right, Lindsay, thank you for that. And we are learning new details about another possible missed warning sign. A gun shop owner who says he reported his suspicions about the gunman to the authorities weeks before the attack. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is here. And Brian, we always hear the phrase, if you see something, say something. A lot of people said something.
That seems to be the case. The owner of the gun shop in Jensen Beach, Florida, has told ABC News that Mateen tried to buy body armor and bulk ammunition from his store, but he turned them down because he seemed suspicious. And the owner says he then notified authorities about his suspicions of Mateen. That was almost 3 weeks before the shooting, Amy. No immediate comments so far from the FBI or local authorities.
Certainly, we expect to hear one soon. In the meantime, there are reports of new ISIS threats against tourists in Europe, as well as gay nightclubs everywhere.
That's right. Authorities in Europe are sorting through reports that new teams of ISIS fighters have been dispatched from Syria to Europe. This comes at a time of high anxiety because of the ongoing soccer championships being played out in France. So far, though, the only problem has been some raucous, violent fans.
All right, and it is summer travel season. People have a lot of plans to visit
That's right.
Europe.
There's a travel warning out for U.S. tourists going to Europe.
All right, Brian, thank you.
Okay, we're going to get into the political impact of this attack right now. Overnight, Senate Democrats took over the Senate floor to force action on gun legislation. And Donald Trump says he's going to meet with the NRA to discuss ways to deny guns to people on the terror watch list. John Carl has all the latest from Washington. John, after that talkathon yesterday, we could see new votes on gun legislation as early as today.
Absolutely, George. Quite a movement there in the Senate. And it was 1 year ago today that Donald Trump officially announced he was running for president. And while he is in the midst of a bitter battle with Hillary Clinton over how to respond to the Orlando massacre, there is now one issue where they appear to be, at least, in agreement.
Overnight, Democrats spoke for nearly 15 hours on the Senate floor, hoping to shame Republicans into having a vote on new gun control legislation.
Having come through the experience of Newtown, I've had enough. It's been 4 years. and nothing has been done.
Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton continues to hammer Donald Trump over his response to the Orlando massacre.
So not one of Donald Trump's reckless ideas would have saved a single life in Orlando.
But now there may be one idea the two bitter rivals actually agree on. Trump proclaimed in a tweet, "I will be meeting with the NRA, who has endorsed me, about not allowing people on the terrorist watch list or the no-fly list to buy guns." That's a position Clinton has long supported.
If the FBI is watching you for suspected terrorist links, you should not be able to buy a gun with no questions asked.
Democrats have proposed the so-called no-fly, no-buy bill, arguing that if you are on the terror watch list, which includes the TSA no-fly list, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun.
I want to meet with the NRA. We're going to be discussing it. A number of people have brought this to my attention, and I understand why we should be discussing it.
But the NRA, along with most Republicans, has opposed banning gun sales to those on watch lists, saying law-abiding Americans are often included and should not lose their right to purchase firearms.
The NRA has responded to Trump's request for a meeting, saying, quote, "We are happy to meet with Donald Trump. The NRA's position on this issue has not changed. Instead of an outright ban, George, they support a Republican measure that would require a delay for anyone on a watch list so they could first be checked out before buying a gun."
Could see a vote on that today as well. John Carl, thanks very much. Let's talk now to Bill O'Reilly, anchor of the O'Reilly Factor on Fox News. Bill, thanks for coming in this morning. So a lot of movement right now on guns. You think something's going to happen?
Yeah, I think Congress has to debate, which kind of weaponry is available to the public and which isn't, very specifically. And that's a worthy debate, and they should do it. Beyond that, I hate to see this war on terror politicized, because that's what's going on.
Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. And one of the things we're seeing is Donald Trump seeming to try to urge the NRA to do something on this terror watch list. Do you think they're going to move?
Well, look, I mean, they have to have a specific law that if you're under suspicion, you can't buy a gun, but you can't just do that now. It has to be a law, because the guy, Mateen, he was clean. He didn't have any arrest record. So you can't deny him the right that Florida gives its citizens to do whatever they want to do. But if you pass a new law that says if you're on a federal watch list, then you're denied this, 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 and this, it can happen.
That's right, and then we'll see what happens with that vote today. You talk about the politicizing of the gun debate. You've seen President Obama come out, you've seen Hillary Clinton come out, you've seen Donald Trump come out, and in the initial days, it seems like Donald Trump is kind of doubling down on the same strategy he had during the primaries.
Of course.
Will that work in the general election?
Who knows? He's got two issues. Trump's got two issues and two issues only: the economy and terrorism. That's it. Social issues don't matter this year, and he's not strong on them anyway. So he's going to hammer those two issues every time he's in the public forum.
But one of the things that you see happening with that is it's causing a fair amount of discomfort in the top ranks of the Republican leadership. And I think Mr. Trump seemed to get fed up with that last night.
It's style over substance.
Let's take a look at what he said.
You know, the Republicans, honestly, folks, our leaders have to get tougher. This is too tough to do it alone. But you know what? I think I'm going to be forced to. I think I'm going to be forced to. Our leaders have to get a lot tougher. And be quiet. Just please be quiet. Don't talk. Please be quiet.
Sounds like he's almost suing for divorce right there.
Well, look, he's right. The Republican Party, the reason that he's even sitting there is because the Republican leadership's weak. I mean, come on, let's face it. Americans look to the GOP, the Grand Old Party, to protect them. And they look for very, very strong national stands. You're not getting them. I mean, Kate's Law, which I've, wanted to advance, was basically scuttled by the Republican leadership that would protect Americans from violent, aggravated foreign felons who defied deportation. They wouldn't even handle it. And people know that. So that's why Trump is even here.
But see, that's part of the dilemma right now he's facing. One of the reasons he got the nomination, I think you're exactly right, is because he took on the Republican leaders. He was an outsider.
They're wimps.
But does the party need to be united if they're going to win and beat Hillary Clinton in November?
I think Trump is going for the populist vote. I don't think he's running as a Republican. He's running as a populist. And he's going to try to get as many people who are angry and disassociated with the government to vote for him as possible. It could work. That's his only shot, because the Democrat coalition is organized, and most of those folks are either going to stay home or vote for Hillary. But I think this is going to be a low voter turnout. I think a lot of people are going to stay home.
That's interesting, though, because one of the things we saw was high voter turnout, especially in the Republican primaries. Trump, as he said, won more votes than anyone else in history in the Republican primaries.
6% of the population voted for him. That's all. I mean, the primaries are the primaries, but it's a narrow sliver of the general populace.
Where does he find those votes, though, then, in the general election? One of the things we've seen since he won the nomination or secured the nomination is that it appears that Hillary Clinton's opened up a little bit more of a lead.
Oh, but those polls, they go week by week. Next week, Trump's going to be back because of the terrorism. I mean, this week, Hillary...
Do you think this is working for him right now?
The terrorism issue?
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? People are furious. They're furious. They don't want to hear about gun control. They want to get ISIS savages confronted. That's what everybody's talking about outside of New York and Georgetown. People are fed up with President Obama not saying who the enemy is and dancing around and outsourcing the fight to the Kurds. Come on. These are savages. They're killing Americans. Go get them.
That is going to be the debate, because I was actually struck by, I guess, the CBS poll yesterday showed that more than half of the country disapproves of the way Trump has responded on this.
Because I just said the words, it's style over substance. They don't like his style, okay? So Trump's style is what holds him back. And I've told Trump that. I've known Trump for 30 years. I said, hey, look, some of your ideas are very good, but if you go out and you say that Mexican's bad, nobody's going to listen to anything else. All right? So knock off the personal politics and get into the issues on how you're going to beat these people.
We will be watching. We're also going to watch your series, what, Legends and Lies?
Legends and Lies, this Sunday night, 8 o'clock, Fox News Channel. And you want gun control? This is why we have guns. Legends and Lives of Patriots. We beat the British because everyone was armed, and that has made our difficulty of regulating guns that much harder.
Get the history lesson from Bill O'Reilly on Sunday night. Thanks for coming.
All right, George,
Bill.
thanks.
Good, Amy.
All right, George, thank you. And now let's head to Ginger with that deadly heat warning out there. Millions from the Midwest to California now facing alerts as a wildfire blasts through the West and a state of emergency declared in New Mexico. Ginger, a lot to get to.
Amy, the heat has already turned deadly in Arizona, and it's only going to keep climbing as we go through the weekend. The wildfires are burning. Look at this video from just north of Santa Barbara, California. More than 1,000 acres, campsites that have been evacuated, homes this morning at the threat of being evacuated. The heat advisories, though, are immediate for the center of the nation. This is what you have to worry about today. Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, Omaha, certainly Kansas City to Oklahoma City, because the numbers are going to rise above 100. It'll feel like 110 in Kansas City, St. Louis 105, 97 for Nashville this afternoon. By this weekend, Phoenix could get to 120, one of their hottest temperatures ever on record. Amy?
Wow. All right, Ginger, thank you so much. We turn now to the latest on the Zika virus and a new study out now from the CDC. It's a big headline this morning about the risk for babies whose mothers contract the disease in their third trimester. ABC's Dr. Richard Besser is here with the latest on that. And Rich, tell us what this study found.
Yeah, so very important study out of Columbia by CDC and the Colombian Ministry of Health. They're following tens of thousands of people who are infected with Zika. It's their first report. Almost 600 women who were infected with Zika during their third trimester. None of them had a baby with microcephaly, the very severe form of brain damage. It'll be about a year before we know whether there's subtle findings, problems with any vision or hearing, but this is very encouraging.
Yeah, good news there, but does it change what pregnant women should do?
It doesn't. You know, if you're pregnant, you shouldn't go to a place where Zika is transmitting. If you have to go or you're living in one of those places, you want to do what you can to prevent mosquito bites and sexual transmission, because we just don't know, about risk earlier in pregnancy.
Well, and I was just going to ask you about that. We're talking about third trimester infections. What do we know about women who contracted earlier in their pregnancies?
Well, in this same study, they're following over 1,000 women who fall into those groups. By the end of the year, we'll have the answer to that question.
All right, we know you'll be on top of it, Rich. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to Ginger right now. And Ginger, we've got rain here in Times Square and more storms moving east.
Yeah, several spots had severe storms, including Hamilton, Ohio. You can see the video, the damage from the storms there. And of course, we're going to have that threat move east today into parts of West Virginia. Virginia, just west of Washington, D.C., could see some damaging winds and hail. Your heat index now brought to you by Kohl's.
This weekend at Kohl's, there's still time to save on great gifts for Dad. Kohl's has hundreds of great gift ideas at prices you'll love, like a new dress shirt or tie, only $19.99. Pick him up a new watch or give him a watch gift set for only $27.99. And save on performance golf shirts. And no matter how you pay, take an extra 20% off these already great sale prices. Everyone gets Kohl's Cash, too, that you can use later on just about anything you want, online or in store. All weekend at Kohl's. Now that's the good stuff. Kohl's.
Good morning, Washington. A little patchy fog out west this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, warm and humid today. Some spotty showers from time to time and temperatures in the 80s. But this evening and overnight, some showers and storms could be strong, possibly severe, and produce locally heavy rainfall. A flood watch goes in effect at 5 o'clock and continues through late tonight. Now, tomorrow rain will be there in the morning and then some clearing late in the day. Temperatures a little cooler into the 70s. We'll see a beautiful Father's Day weekend with